Welcome to the Aligned and Amplified podcast, where we sit down with entrepreneurs, consultants, coaches, and business leaders to explore what's actually working in business today. Each episode pulls back the curtain on the strategies, lessons, challenges, and breakthroughs that shape successful businesses, helping you gain insight you can apply to your own journey. I'm your host, Jaime Ellithorpe, founder of 540 Strategies. Today, I'm joined by David Whipple, and I'm excited to dive into his story, what he's building, and the lessons he's learned along the way. David, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are today.
Hi, Jamie. Thanks for this opportunity to talk with you and tell you my story a little bit. After graduating from the University of Utah in 1985, I went out selling businesses. And I remember bringing the first business to my manager, Ralph, and going, Ralph, this is the best business. I mean, I was selling him on the business. And he was nodding his head. He was just going, David, this is not a good business. And I was going, but it's profitable and it has great sales. And he's going, no, no, David. Well, I took out my notepad and began taking notes and learning from Ralph and the others. Over the next few years, I was voted on the presidential committee for the most quality transactions out of 36 other agents. Well, after that, and as it was going on, the business owners always asked me, David, how do we increase the value of our business? And sure, I answered their question based on what I learned at the University of Utah in communication. And I soon coupled that with financial areas of business value. And then, after being in 44 different industries, I wrote a book in 2008 and published that called 14 Immutable Laws of Business Value. And I also wrote the first rendition of the software Analyzer 2. It was a spreadsheet. Come on, 1 + 1 = 2. Now it's a lot different and it looks at the interdependence of the human interaction within a business. But we'll go into that later.
Sure. Well, it sounds like you've had an amazing journey and a lot of experience in a lot of different industries. So, who do you primarily work with today and how do you help them?
Primarily, I work today, it has two areas. I'm working with top executives from around the world and getting them on the path of business value with my team. There's around 20 of us. Okay. And we have training provided by the International Business Value Institute, from becoming an ambassador of business value all the way to implementing a strategic value move. So that's my first target audience. And the second target audience are businesses valued under 5 million, even mom and pop shops. Okay. And we're working with them to help them understand the full view of their business equity, a holistic view of business value, and building up the value and what they've worked hard for so they can maintain that with a stewardship manual. So that's what we're really doing now and helping them and focusing on, is so they can pass on their legacy with a stewardship manual. And so the new owner or the buyer has a successful business and she or he succeeds after the transaction. Did you know that right now 60 to 80% of the businesses fail within 2 years after a closing? That's the stats. And we're trying to change that by forming a stewardship manual so the owner can pass on their legacy with that, and the new owner can pay the debt service.
I love that. And you're right. There's so many businesses that fail, and I think it's because they don't have that manual to move the business forward and keep that legacy running. So I love that. And I know with this next question, you probably could answer this 100 different ways, but if you had to point to one or two things that really move the needle, what would you like to share that those would be?
Okay, the business owner knows her or his business than anyone, okay, better than I ever will. And so we let the software do its job. And like I mentioned earlier, we use the software and it goes through over 10,000 variations of a business model in seconds to establish a health score along or in relation to a value. Now, as you know, each business is different. So we do different scenarios based on the company's culture, based on, and this is all based on the book that I wrote in 2008, 14 Immutable Laws of Business Value. So we do all of this to establish a strategy, a custom strategy for that business. Now, the most significant needle movers are establishing a clear value strategy program that gets results and mastering the mechanics of these seamless transactions. That's the other area with a stewardship manual. So there's two areas. There's two areas, the strategy and then the stewardship manual.
Mhm.
Both of those are critical, and those both move the uh, needle. Now, with the strategy, we document that all in a business value plan, so the investor, buyer, business owner, broker can see that. Okay. But the stewardship manual is a lot different, and that brings both the buyer and the seller together with an equilibrium point or the differences of the two. And we work with the buyer and the seller to bring them together and close that gap.
Yeah, I love your process. It sounds very thorough, and I'm sure it's taken you a very long time to put all of the pieces together. But speaking of that, because we're really trying to help our audience understand not only the successes, but the challenges in business, can you share with our audience what's been harder than you expected in your own business as it's grown? What has surprised you?
Well, scaling the firm while maintaining my integrity and precision of my specialized consulting and the methodologies. That's been a challenge. You know, I had to go from consulting one on one to a training mode, online training and teaching and mentoring and guiding. That's the biggest challenge I feel.
Scaling the business.
Right.
So how has your approach evolved over time? So you mentioned you started out one-to-one, then you went into more of a teaching mode and now where you're at today. Can you walk us through that evolution a little bit?
Okay, I told you a story of the one on one, how
Mhm.
that all began and how I did that 44 different industries to 2008. And a few years ago, I started sharing it with others. I thought, hey, this is something that others could use. And Rajendra, who is still with me to this day, he has his PhD he's in India, has stuck with me, and there's a few others, Ben and Herman, have stuck with me while I've evolved this training and teaching and mentoring, and as we brought others on. But it's been really a challenge kind of to do it inside out with my own processes and my own businesses. I usually do that for somebody else,
Mhm.
can look from the outside in, but doing that with my processes so they can learn and checking on the results, and keeping the integrity in there, that's tough, but it's working. We just picked up a client, well, a partnership with over 3,000 broker agents that wants to work with us. Now, he originally went through the training and met me last year, but now he's bought a couple other brokerages. He's a managing partner of a large brokerage firm. So we're going to start supporting over 3,000 broker agents.
That's fantastic. So, advice to our audience who might be looking to go in the direction that you've gone, what would you tell someone who's trying to grow right now?
Okay, a business owner, while talking to a business owner, because I talk to a lot of people that are looking to grow their career and expand their career. So that's one area. But with their business, I just want to say that growth is not just about increasing revenue. It's about building a stewardship model where your processes, culture, value systems, the operations are so robust that the business becomes a self-sustaining asset where it doesn't need you. That's what I would tell them.
That's wonderful advice. Well, it sounds like, David, you've got so much to share outside of the few minutes that we've been able to spend together. What's next for you and the business?
Well, that's a good question, and I'm always looking ahead, always. And with this software, it looks into the future. It's like my crystal ball. And as you know, brokers and executives, they look in the back, the KPIs, and say, hey, here's what we've done in the past, even to put a value on the business. We look out ahead, and I do too. And what I'm currently doing now is consolidating all of my training, all the guides and everything, and making it user friendly so someone can just step in and go all the way from the beginning as an ambassador of business value all the way to a master trainer. And so that's what I really focused on right now. But I'm also mentoring and helping, small businesses as they come in, and also my associates. I'm trying to, my ambassadors, I'm trying to help them and be the example to them with honesty and integrity.
Yes, I love that. You and I resonate a lot on our philosophies, and I'm so glad that you took a few minutes to share your knowledge and your insights with our audience. And there's so much more. I know there is. So, where can people find you and connect with you and learn more about your business?
The best place is growthconcepts.org. And on LinkedIn, David C. Whipple, I'm there. But my book, 14 Immutable Laws of Business Value, and 10 Immutable Laws of Business Ideation, are on Amazon. You can get those. and save you a lot of time in maximizing your company's value, really, with those, or a new startup in making the launch. There's 10 gates there that you have to go through before you launch any new idea for it to be successful. So
Wonderful.
that's the best place, either my website or LinkedIn.
And your books. It sounds like your books are
Yes,
a great start to learning more about how you work with clients and how you support them.
we start there and with the software, right? We
Wonderful.
do.
Well, thank you, David, for taking the time to share your information with our audience. And I'm excited for people to connect with you, find your books, learn more about you on your website. Thanks again for joining the podcast.
Well, it was my pleasure. And I look forward to talking with you more and some of your constituents or others. Please feel free to reach out to me anytime.
All
Have a
right.
good day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You
Bye now.
bet. Thank you. Mhm.
Okay. Then we'll edit that. We'll edit around all of that, but there we
Right.
go. So I think we got
All right.
some good material for some great clips for you for sure.
Okay, good. I hope so. I hope it went well. I just went through one and they recorded it in another platform and it's not going well. So you are the first person I've given to, so it's proprietary what you're doing. I mean, this is I've thought it out meticulously and how to scale my business. And as you know, I just got a partnership with over 3,000 brokers and agents. So that's a lot.
Yeah, that's
So
wonderful.
we don't want to grow too fast. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so this podcast is important for other top executives to see so
Mhm.
they'll come aboard. That's what I'm really going after.
Sure.
Right. Just top people that'll learn the system about how to plan with business value. So there's more equity. Nothing else, not cost cutting, not advertising, not productivity, just business value. That's all we're looking for.